Welcome to this special Halloween episode of the Budget Drams Whisky Reviews. Today is the 31st of October 2020. I hope you all have your doors locked, your windows and curtains closed, because the Ardbeg's little monster is out on a prowl and he's hungry. It's the Ardbeg wee Beastie. In Scots Gaelic, Ardbeg reads as an Ardbeg, which means the small promontory. 1798 saw the first production of whisky made by Ardbeg. However, it was not until 1815 when John MacDougall took out a licence for the Ardbeg distillery to produce whisky commercially. Thomas Buchanan, a spirit merchant from Glasgow, bought the distillery in 1838 for £1,800, and Alexander MacDougall, John MacDougall's son, remained in the company to manage operations. Sadly, Alexander MacDougall passed away in 1853. Ardbeg was then co-run by Colin Hay, as well as Alexander MacDougall's sisters, Margaret and Flora. It is said that they were the first female distillers in Scotland. Ardbeg became the most productive distillery on Islay in 1887, when they started producing 250,000 gallons per year, which equates to 1.1 million litres. 1911 saw the name Ardbeg become a registered trademark. According to the Ardbeg website, the letter A was also registered to protect Ardbeg's brand and reputation. Alexander & Co Limited bought Ardbeg in 1922 for £19,000, until 1977 when they were taken over again, this time by Hiram Walker. 1981 was a dark year for Ardbeg. Production ground to a halt, and a distillery had to close, which saw 18 job losses. Understandably, this had a devastating effect on the families and community. It wasn't until 1987 when production started again on a small-scale basis, and Hiram Walker was bought by Allied Lions, who now subsequently own Ardbeg. 1991 saw a second closure of the distillery until 1997, and was then bought by the Glenmorangie Company, who are both now owned by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy from 2004. Following on from the two closures of the distillery, Ardbeg finally saw light at the end of the tunnel in 1998, when they were voted Distillery of the Year. The same year saw them open their visitor centre for the first time, as well as the Old Kiln Cafe, welcoming 3,500 visitors to the distillery. This year also saw the release of the Ardbeg 1975. A year later, in 1999, production rose to 600,000 gallons a year. This allowed Ardbeg to employ more staff and buy new equipment. In the same year, single casks were starting to be hand-selected and released in very limited quantity for exclusive bottlings. The Ardbeg 10 was launched in 2000. The extraordinary peaty power and floral sweetness makes it a big hit, and the core expression in the Ardbeg range. The Worldwide Ardbeg Committee was also launched this year, ensuring the doors to the distillery never close again. The Ardbeg Lord of the Isles was released in 2001. Ardbeg continued to win more awards in 2002, with Jackie Thompson winning Visitor Centre Manager of the Year by the Whisky magazine. The distillery was also named as a 4-star visitor attraction by the Scottish Tourist Board. The Ardbeg Uigeadail was released in 2003 and was named after the water source which is used to produce the Ardbeg whiskies. Uigeadail means dark and mysterious place. As well as the Uigeadail releasing, the first Glenmorangie Company distillate was released to the committee for discussion, which was a limited bottling of a very young Ardbeg. 2005 was a huge year for the Ardbeg distillery. They officially became part of the House of Glenmorangie within Moët Hennessy. Production also soared back to 1 million litres a year. 2005 also almost saw a disaster. Apparently, someone accidentally pressed the wrong lever, which resulted in some Ardbeg spirit mixed with a small quantity of Glenmorangie. This resulted in the unbranded release of Serendipity, a supreme blended Scotch malt whisky. Some young, old and rare bottlings were released in 2006. The Ardbeg Still Young, which is the next step on the peaty path to maturity. Ardbeg 1965. Only 261 bottlings were released, making this the oldest Ardbeg to ever be released, the envy of Islay. And lastly, the Ardbeg Éire Nam Beast, drawn from rare and restricted whisky stocks laid down in 1990. Michael Heads became the 20th distillery manager and chairman of the Ardbeg Committee in 2007, until his retirement in October 2020. 2007 also saw the release of Ardbeg Almost There, which was the third limited release of the 1998 distillate. The Ardbeg More becomes the biggest launch to date. Ardbeg Double Barrel, which was 250 pairs of Ardbeg 1974 vintage single cask bottlings presented in luxury shotgun cases. 2008, 9 and 10 were also huge years for Ardbeg, with the 10 Uigeadail and Supernova winning major worldwide awards for those years, as well as a Corrie Vrecken winning 2 awards in 2010. The Ardbeg Renaissance completed its peaty path to maturity in 2008. Ardbeg Corrie Vrecken is released to the committee, and the Ardbeg Blasta, which is Gaelic for sweet and delicious, is launched. The Ardbeg Supernova, which was the peatiest at the time, was released in 2009 in 3,000 bottlings, and the Corrie Vrecken joined the core range on a worldwide release. The Ardbeg Roller Coaster was released in 2010 to celebrate the committee's 10th year. 2011 was all about the tail of the alligator. Matured in American oak casks, nicknamed the Alligator Char, this gave the whisky a smoky and spicy flavour, and ensured that the Ardbeg alligator was snapped up by the committee. In the same year, Ardbeg also conducted the first ever whisky experiment in space aboard the International Space Station. 2012 was the year of the celebration. The Ardbeg Galileo was launched in honour of the ongoing space experiment, and an astonishing 60,000 bottles of this sold out in just 48 hours. As well as this, they were also celebrating Ardbeg Day in the form of the Islay Olympics. The unique custom-built Ardbeg Massey Ferguson tractor toured the world in 2013. This had an 8.6 litre engine, as well as 100 miles per hour of pure supercharged V8 Fury. For Ardbeg Day in 2013, they celebrated all things peaty. The Ardbeg space experiment finished, landing in Kazakhstan on the 12th of September 2014. The Ardbeg Supernova 2014 took off. And 2014 was the year of the Football World Cup, and Ardbeg wanted to get in on the act, so they held the Ardbegian World Cup for Ardbeg Day. This year also saw the launch of the Ardbeg Oriverdes. 2015 was the 200th anniversary of Ardbeg, but instead of looking into the past, they decided to look 200 years into the future and launched the Ardbeg Perpetuum. Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for staying tuned in, and I'm sorry that was a long one, but I got all my information from the Ardbeg website, but unfortunately it seemed to only go up to 2015 for some reason. I'm not sure why, so that's all I could go up to. But anyway, yeah, like I said, thanks very much for tuning in, and as we know, it's the 31st of October today, so I thought it'd be fitting to finally review my Ardbeg Wee Beastie. So anyway, so as we know, it's the Ardbeg Wee Beastie. It's an Islay whiskey, and it's a non-age statement whiskey. However, they have released information, and it does actually say on the bottle that it is a minimum of 5 years old. So maybe that's an indication of why they called it the Wee Beastie, because it's quite young. So anyway, it's bottled at 47.4%, and it's usually priced at £39. However, when I actually bought this on the first day of release in the UK, and I managed to get it for just over £36, £36.43. So yeah, a bit of a saving on that. Now, it was released internationally a couple of months before it was released in the UK. Not sure why. Maybe it was a marketing ploy, knowing that the UK market would sell out as soon as it's released, because they couldn't get hold of it anywhere. Only international countries could get it. So if it was and it sold out, maybe it was a good idea. I'm not sure. So anyway, so this whiskey is non-chill filtered, but it does have added colouring, and it's matured in ex-bourbon and ex-Oloroso sherry casks. Okay, so I've had it sitting for about 20 minutes now, so let's give it a swirl. So although it does have added colouring, probably say it's a nice bright gold colour. Okay, there are some lugs there, they're very slow. Very slow. Okay, so let's see what it's like on the nose. Right, now every time I nose this whiskey, I seem to get really strong flavoured prawn cocktail crisps. You know when you open a pack straight away and you put your nose in, you get a really big, strong smell. Now, I've spoken to quite a few people in the community about this, and nobody else seems to be getting that, so maybe it's just me. If you do, or if you've got any thoughts on that, please let me know in the comments. It'd be interesting to know your thoughts. Now, it's a little bit salty, so maybe there's a bit of hint of brininess in there. And now I seem to be getting some cured meats. It's smoky. Probably say wet ash. And then going back to the meats, you know, like the Italian meats that you can get on a meat platter in a restaurant or in a delicatessen. Maybe a little bit of sweet barbecue smoke there. Maybe a hint of black pepper as well. So let's see what it's like on a palate. Right, there's no prawn cocktail crisps on the palate, I can assure you. I'm getting a sweet honeyed gammon. Then the smoke starts to kick in. Yeah, smokiness it's an ashy smoke, wet ash. Excuse me. And then it starts getting meatier. So it starts off with sweet honeyed gammon. So you've got a bit of sweetness, you've got a bit of saltiness in there at the same time. But then it starts changing, for me, it starts changing to cured meats again, like your salamis, your chorizos. Slightly peated, a little creamy, a little bit oily, some mouth coating. But it's also leaving me salivating as well. It's mouth watering. It doesn't leave my my mouth dry. So every time I take a sip, I want to try some more. It's a little spicy on the tongue. So then you're getting your cracked black pepper again towards the end. The medium, I'd say the finish is medium to long. It's definitely not long, but it's definitely not short finish. Like I said, it's mouth coating. It's smooth. It's a smooth drink. It's a little warm as it goes down, but the smoke stays there. But on the finish, the smoke seems to change to a wood smoke. So on the palate, it's definitely an ashy smoke, but on the finish, it changes to a wood smoke. So yeah, I'm really impressed with this, especially for such a young age. If they didn't put on the bottle that it was a 5-year-old, minimum 5 years, I would have thought it'd be 10 years maybe. And however, I think it could be a little bit cheaper. £35 maximum at full price, maybe. Doesn't mean to say I don't enjoy it. I think this is a really nice whiskey. Now, this has been in my cabinet for over 3 months now, and for me, it's been really, really hard not to finish it, because I find that the further down the bottle you get, the better the whiskey gets. It improves a lot the further down the bottle. So yeah, I'm going to give this, looking back at the scores, so for the nose, I love the nose on this. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I'm really impressed with the smell of this one. Now the palate, I'm going to mark it down a little bit compared to the nose. I'm going to give it an 8.9, and the finish, I'd probably say an 8.7. The price, like I said, I think it could be done with being a little bit cheaper. So that's going to get an 8.5. But the enjoyment is going to go back up to 9. the overall enjoyment. Like I said, I really do like this, and I definitely would recommend this. If it's not massively smoky and it isn't massively peaty. I have had smoky and peaty whiskies. Maybe that's why it could be called the wee Beastie. So the overall score I'm going to give this is an 8.9 out of 10. So yeah, I hope, let me know what you think about this whiskey if you've tried it before. Now, before I do wrap this up, this episode up, I'm going to introduce something new into my full review videos. I'm going to call this section Friends of Budget Drams. I'm a massive believer in supporting my fellow whiskey YouTubers, and so each episode of my full reviews I'm going to give a shout out to a channel who I follow and support, and I'm going to drop links in my descriptions of each video, and I would hope if you don't already, you'd check them out. So the first shout out I'm going to give is to Anthony and Nikki, who their channel is called The New Dram Drinkers. Really good channel, been going for a while now, and they are also very supportive to me. But they also have their own online whiskey community called Certified Originals. It's a really good group to be involved with, and fantastic people in there. There is lots of sub chats, lots of different discussions going on. There is online Zoom chats, and where we would nominate a particular bottle, and you could either buy a bottle yourself, or there's lots of dram swaps going on as well. So if somebody does have a full bottle, they would send out a sample to somebody who doesn't. So we could all, join in on the chat. Like I said, there's lots of dram swaps as well between the community, and they had their first distillery tour the other month to Bimber, but because of the situation, things have changed. They're not able to go on any more tours at the moment, but hopefully in the future they will be able to keep that going. So yeah, like I said, it's a fantastic thing to be involved with, and it's all thanks to Anthony and Nikki. So yeah, there you go. So like I said, I'll drop links in the description for their channels, so please make sure you check them out. And one last thing before I wrap this up, I had a competition in my last review, in the Glengarry review, and I will drop a card just up above if you haven't seen it already, and just please check it out if you want to. But I'd like to announce the winner. The winner is Menno Greet, multi-mission. So well done, Menno, and who is also a member of the Certified Originals. So Menno, please drop me a message in the chat, and I will get those drums sent out to you. So that about wraps it up. So thanks very much, guys, for watching. I hope you liked the video, and let me know what you think of this whiskey in the comments. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing and like the video if you want to.